Donald Trump is getting worse. He has worsening pathological disinhibition, acting more like a toddler than ever before. Here's the viral clip I'm talking about. In just this one 10-second clip, you'll hear him say the quiet parts out loud, and you'll also hear a grotesque Mike Johnson lie. Watch this.
What was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. It was grim. That's what I was going to say.
I'll explain the Mike Johnson lie about a terminal diagnosis in a few minutes. But first, let's analyze Trump's toddler-like behavior. Here's my friend Hillary over at concussiontalks.slp to explain.
Donald Trump's dementia came out to play again, and this time in a little bit of a different way than I've talked about before. This time, he is basically acting like a toddler. Let's take a look.
We had one man who was very ill. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. I don't know. I won't mention his name. Should I? Do other people know his name?
I've got a secret, and I'm not going to tell you. But I really want to tell you. Can I tell you? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Do you want to mention it? He'll be proud.
Mike Johnson, do you want to mention it? Because I can't remember his name, and I really want to tell this story. So if you could please take over and mention it, that'd be great.
Go ahead. Tell him the story.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. President.
What is that laugh? Ugh, heebie-jeebies. Okay, moving on.
Congressman Neal Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, and it was very serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work, and if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire.
So Mike Johnson explained it as someone who still has a filter might explain it. Used very non-specific words, did not give away exactly what was going on while still saying what President Trump was asking him to say. And then...
What was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. It was grim. That's what I was going to say.
Neal Dunn had not come out and said that he had a terminal heart condition, which is pretty problematic when you have constituents who voted for you and need to kind of know what's going on with their elected official. But man, Trump just blurts that out, and then Mike Johnson going, okay, yeah, that was in public. Okay, wow.
With a heart problem, by the way. This was a heart problem.
So now we know Neal Dunn had a terminal heart problem because Donald Trump can't keep his trap shut.
Hillary is right. This is what worsening disinhibition looks like. As the frontal cortex of Trump's brain slowly dies, his ability to filter what he says is lost. As I explained in this video, the most likely cause of this loss of filter is called frontotemporal degeneration, which is a condition that we would expect to only get worse with time. Combine that brain degeneration and disinhibition with his malignant narcissism, and you can see what a terrible human being Trump actually is. Once he learned of Congressman Dunn's terminal diagnosis, he realized he would be losing another vote in the House of Representatives, which of course the Republicans hold a razor-thin majority. So in order to save his majority, Trump called in his Walter Reed doctors and presumably compelled or coerced Congressman Dunn to go have another cardiac surgery. Take a listen.
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. It was grim. That's what I was going to say. I don't think
with a heart problem, by the way. This was a heart problem. Right. Mike called me and he said, "Sir, we're up by 3, but we're going to lose 1 by June." I said, "Who?" Neal Dunn. He's a great congressman, incredible. He called to say that he was terminal, really bad heart. There's nothing they can do. I said, "That's bad." Number 1, it was bad because I liked him. Number 2, it was bad because I needed his vote. I called the 2 doctors. They're both great. And they immediately went over to see the congressman. And he was on the operating table like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
I did it for him first and for the vote second. But it was a close second, actually. But I did it for the vote second, all right?
You did it for the vote second. He's a lying piece of garbage. Trump did not get the White House doctors involved out of humanity. He did it for himself. Trump arranged the procedures to keep him alive through 2026 to protect his majority. Pure, malignant narcissism. And the fact that he said it out loud, that's the frontotemporal degeneration part. That's the broken filter part. And it's getting worse. More on that at the end of the video. By the way, if you're wondering if this is a HIPAA violation, it's not. Neal Dunn's PHI, his protected health information, and HIPAA only applies to what's known as covered entities, which includes healthcare workers and hospitals and insurance companies, etc. The president is none of those things, so he can say whatever he wants about whoever he wants. Moving on to this idea that it was a terminal diagnosis. Where did this notion that it was a terminal diagnosis even come from? Well, that story was leaked at the end of February. It was none other than Mike Johnson himself, who was trying to raise money and told a room full of Republican Party donors that Neal Dunn may have a terminal condition. That information was leaked to the press and it made headlines, with some speculating he wouldn't even be able to finish his term. So Trump told us it was his heart. But what heart conditions are terminal? I'll explain that in a moment, but first, please excuse this brief message from my new Medicare partner chapter. Medicare isn't one thing. It's Part A, B, C, D, Medigap, supplemental plans, Advantage plans, drug tiers, networks, deductibles. Most people pick a plan based on a TV commercial or what a friend picks. But plans vary by zip codes, by prescriptions, by doctors. Chapter analyzes all options available to you across all carriers, so you can choose the best plan for you. I've been getting feedback from you guys, and you guys are loving the unbiased guidance that Chapter has been giving you. If you'd like to be sure you're on the right plan for you, call the number above. Seniors who work with Chapter save on average $1,100 per year. So I invite you to call 504-613-5925 and speak with a trusted Medicare advisor today. Okay, back to the terminal heart conditions. Did Neal Dunn really have a terminal heart condition? The only chronic heart conditions where we would use the phrase terminal diagnosis would be end-stage congestive heart failure. Conditions like dilated, hypertrophic, idiopathic, ischemic, or restrictive cardiomyopathies, which all essentially result in heart failure. Heart failure is when the heart loses its ability to pump blood throughout the body. The squeeze of the heart pump gets weaker. So it's important to note that in these end-stage terminal conditions, the patient is very symptomatic, very fatigued, shortness of breath, orthopnea. Even just speaking can cause the person to become out of breath. If Neal Dunn truly had what we would call a terminal diagnosis, the only ways he could be saved would be with, number one, an LVAD, which is a left ventricular assist device. It's basically a battery-powered electric pump that's installed in the heart. Or number two, a heart transplant. So, which was it? Which one of these two saved his terminal condition? Well, Trump tells us what the medical intervention was. Let's listen.
It was a long operation. They gave him more stents and more everything that you could have. I think he's got everything that you could possibly have. And they called up. They said, "Sir, I think he'll be fine." I said, "You got to be kidding." He said, "I think he'll be fine." And Mike was telling me the story that the other day he came into a meeting for the first time in a long while. Go ahead.
Well, it was incredible. I mean, he has a new lease on life. He has more energy than a man half his age. And
he had stents placed. That's it. Not an LVAD for his terminal diagnosis. He didn't have a heart transplant for his terminal diagnosis. just stents. Okay, so what are stents? Stents are small, expandable mesh tubes that are placed inside clogged arteries in the heart. These stents hold the blocked artery open so blood can flow through. Quite common procedure, but Trump said he had more stents, which means that Neal Dunn has already had stents placed before. Based on this evidence, it's likely that Neal Dunn has severe coronary artery disease and has had multiple interventions over time, including angioplasty, stent placements, and a CABG, which is a coronary artery bypass graft. If you hear someone say they've had a triple bypass, that means that vessels were removed from another part of the body, like the leg, and grafted onto arteries in the heart to bypass the clogged section. If someone with severe coronary artery disease has already had all these procedures, coronary bypass and multiple stents placed, then their local cardiologist will be less likely to want to continue placing stents because of the increasing risk of adverse outcomes and decreasing benefits. So, what seems most likely here is that Neal Dunn, who's a medical doctor, by the way, he's a urologist, he's likely had multiple cardiac interventions over the years. He's probably on multiple medications, and he may have decided that he just didn't want any more interventions for his clogging arteries. He probably also wanted to retire so he could get out of the stress of Congress and just relax. Now for the key point. In medicine, we would not classify coronary artery disease, even if it's severe, as a terminal diagnosis, although that may be what ultimately takes the person's life. But we don't say terminal diagnosis in the same way we might say that cancer is terminal. There's no way of knowing how long a person with clogged arteries will live. And certainly we wouldn't give a specific month like June. People can live for years with severely clogged arteries. It seems Mike Johnson was using the specter of a terminal diagnosis to raise money. What a morbid creep. And Trump is too clueless to understand all of this, so all he can do is brag about how he saved Neal Dunn's life, which is ridiculous. How bad is it, Hillary?
This is really bad. We have a president who has no filter because his brain is rotting. It is deteriorating to the point where he is saying the quiet parts out loud. He is giving away other people's secrets. Unfortunately, a man in his position probably has more secrets, and he should not be giving them away. The fact that Mike Johnson was so uncomfortable with this, Trump has made that man jump through hoops and run through fire. I mean, he has done so much really questionable shit for Donald Trump, and this is the thing that makes him very, very uncomfortable based off of his facial features. Yeah, we are getting to the point where he is not going to be able to keep his mouth shut. And when someone cannot keep their mouth shut, they are basically a toddler. And we all know what toddlers are like, and we do not need one of them running our country, and he has got to go.
It's true and it's scary. All this erratic behavior, and it's only going to get worse from here. Thanks to Hillary, and thanks to all of you for watching. Please subscribe so you can stay up to date on our ongoing clinical investigation of Trump's health, along with other important political topics, including a video coming out soon about the drunkard Pete Hegseth. We need your support to get to 100,000 subscribers, which will help us keep making great content. A very special thank you to our new and existing members. Please consider becoming a valued member today. If you want to come say hi, you can find me over at Blue Sky. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.